Final.
Come championship bound, baby! Woo! Big up, baby! Woo! The year, man. It got a little crazy out there, but we made it through.
We're gonna keep stacking the day, so see you in the championship.
Bow, bow, bow! Let's go!
Recall that June 17th was payback time, not just another game. On May 30th, Jacy Sheldon and the Connecticut. The sun went out. When the dirty plays went unpunished, Sophie Cunningham and Sydney Cousin were hurt on the floor. The Indiana Fever recalled everything, and when Sheldon poked Caitlin Clark in the eye during this rematch, something happened that will show you why you should never mess with Clark's teammates. Sophie Cunningham was about to deliver the most satisfying flagrant foul you've ever seen. If you agree with the Fever, leave a comment below with CC and Spicy. Let's go, Sophie.
It was chippy the last time these two teams faced off too. Sophie Cunningham suffered her ankle injury in that game, but in addition to that, she actually had part of her front tooth knocked out. She made contact with Jacy Sheldon as Caitlin Clark knocks down the triple.
But what people don't talk about enough is how hard you have to work to be able to be that good. All the hours that she's spent perfecting her craft.
Retreating, firing, and hitting.
So she can do that.
On Indiana arguing the call.
I mean, step back, you're late. She almost looks you in the eye. And
Image from May 30th, the Indiana Fever versus Connecticut Sun game began normally enough, with two WNBA teams vying for position, but the Suns' level of physicality went beyond competitive to dangerous. And you could sense the tension rising from the first tip. Everything went wrong for the Fever in the worst way possible.
Can we talk about the physicality for a second? Two players on the Indiana Fever got injured last night by the same player on the Connecticut Sun, and that was Jacy Sheldon. And I tweeted about it. She was playing so reckless. I'm fine with players playing aggressive, but there is a thin line between playing aggressive and playing reckless. When you dive for a ball, you don't land on somebody's leg. She landed on top of Sydney Colson's leg, and her leg got stuck and literally twisted around. Both injuries, both Sydney Colson and Sophie Cunningham, were contact injuries.
Sydney Colson was injured in another dubious play that left everyone wondering what was going on outside. The worst part was that Jacy Sheldon was right in the middle of both incidents, playing with an aggressive style that makes your blood boil. Sophie Cunningham went down first with what appeared to be a deliberate hit. The contact was too hard for what should have been routine basketball.
They weren't non-contact. They weren't ACLs. They weren't Achilles. They were contact injuries caused by the same player. And this kind of physicality that the WNBA they brag about. They say it's always been a physical league. That's just the heart of the It's not good basketball. And we've seen so many injuries. Paige Becker's out with a concussion. Rakia Jackson was out with a concussion. All of these injuries are contact plays. We've seen Caitlin Clark last year get chucked to the ground. We saw Angel Reese get clothesline chucked to the ground. The players continue to do it because the refs are allowing them. Why wouldn't you keep doing it if you're a physical player?
This is where college history enters the picture. Sheldon and Clark had been at odds since their college days when they played Iowa versus Ohio State. Every time they squared off on the court, Sheldon made it her goal to get under Clark's skin by following him about and bumping into her on screens. Talk trash when there are dead balls. This was now more than just basketball. It was a personal matter.
Her mortal enemy took out a player. Jacy Sheldon. Caitlin Clark's mortal enemy. Jacy Sheldon.
The Mayday referees appeared to overlook everything, as if they were witnessing a totally different game from the others. The Fever fought hard, but lost that game 85-83, but more significantly, they lost two key players to injuries that could have been avoided if the officials had properly controlled the game. Sydney Cousin and Sophie Cunningham were hurt, and their absence would be felt in the games that followed. Hard fouls went uncalled, dangerous plays were ignored, and Clark had to watch her teammates get hurt while Sheldon left without even a warning from the officials.
This is a reckless play. This is reckless. It is dangerous. And this angle makes it look even worse. It is dangerous. Like, Sid Colson is between her and the ball. Sid Colson is in fact between Jacy Sheldon and the ball, and she dives through her knee. It wasn't even called as a foul. It wasn't even called as a foul.
The Fever would definitely remember this game, remember who caused the injuries, and remember that the officials allowed it all to happen. You could see it in Clark's eyes after that loss, the way she looked at Sheldon during the handshake line, and the way she responded to questions during the post-game interview. June 17th couldn't arrive soon enough. Clark has recovered from her quad injury and is prepared to play the Connecticut Sun again after a convincing victory over the then unbeaten New York Liberty. This was her second game back after 3 weeks off the court, and you can tell she remembers every detail of the previous encounter, from the way she enters the court and the way she looks at the Sun players during warm-ups. This isn't just another game for her.
So she just texts me. She never texts me during the game.
All right. Here is Clark splashing home a three from way downtown. Kelly escorting her back to the bench.
Jacy Sheldon is there with her hand in her face.
Sheldon is protecting Clark as if her life depended on it, getting too close for comfort and shadowing Clark on every possession while bumping her on screens and doing all the other little things that make basketball ugly. This is the same aggressive style that injured Sophie Cunningham and Sydney Cousin back in May, and everyone in the arena can sense what's about to happen.
And Caitlin Clark are talking to the official. They're both going at it saying, hey, oh, there's a little extra right there. Uh-oh. Then Marina steps in to protect JC.
When the third quarter begins, Clark is bringing the ball up court when Sheldon approaches to defend. She tries what appears to be a steal attempt, but her finger goes right into Clark's eye. The contact is instantaneous and clear, and you can see Clark's head snap back from the impact.
Third quarter we go. They're trailing by 10. Keep an eye on her and Jacy Sheldon. Clark trying to back her down.
Clark is okay.
Sheldon, that was Clark, hitting her in the face. Clark is upset about that. Then everybody's upset about that. Marina Mabrey comes in. She decks Clark, tempers flaring on both sides.
Clark touches her face right away, and when she understands what occurred, you can see the rage and anguish blending together. She's squinting to try to see clearly, but you can see she's thinking about more than just the physical discomfort. This wasn't a coincidence. After being poked in the eye, the player who hurt her teammates is now pursuing her using the same dishonest tactics that went unpunished. Before Clark does what any competitor would do, she pushes back, literally pushing Sheldon away from her. This is a normal reaction when someone pokes their finger into your eye socket. The crowd erupts because everyone witnessed what actually happened, but the referees are about to make things worse.
Hey,
I mean, is that displacement? I think it is.
Oh, and Marina Mabrey's going to get ejected. If the officials saw that, Marina Mabrey is going to get ejected.
Well, they're going to go and look at it. Look at Mabrey. She's got a scar on one side, a scratch on one side of her face, a scratch on the other side. It's not from the game today. I asked her about it. She's always in the mix. There's a lot of contact here. There's a scrape across the face. That's what Clark didn't like.
Clark is standing there holding her eye, clearly the victim of a dangerous play, but the officials are reaching for their whistles. The arena is buzzing with confusion and anger. Fans are pointing at the replay boards showing the obvious eye poke that started everything, but the refs have their minds made up. They hit Clark with a technical foul for pushing back after getting her eye poked, a technical foul for defending herself after someone poked her in the eye. The decision made absolutely no sense. To anyone watching, Clark just scored 32 points in her first game back from injury, and now she's getting penalized for reacting to getting eye poked by the same player who hurt her teammates. The technical foul call sends the wrong message to everyone watching. It tells players that they can go after Clark with dangerous plays, and if she reacts, she'll be the one getting punished. But this eye poke was just the beginning. Marina Mabrey was watching all of this unfold, and she was about to take things to a whole different level.
Take another look as we try to figure out what exactly went down. So you see her get hit in the face. Jacy Sheldon doesn't like that, and everybody on the team doesn't like it. Marina, trying to have her teammates back, pushes her down. You see a little bit of drama all the way around. Tina, Charles, Clark, and Mabrey, they received technical fouls. Sheldon received a flagrant one.
Marina Mabrey chooses to handle things herself in the worst way imaginable immediately after Clark receives that fictitious technical foul. Clark is still recovering from her eye injury when Mabrey approaches and does something that astounds everyone in the arena.
That's what Clark didn't like. And then Mabrey came in with a bump.
And Mabrey's day is almost assuredly going to be done. But both teams.
This was a direct assault, and the victim's body was examined. There was no basketball contact. She fell backward onto the court when Clark said, "This is hockey, not basketball." The hit was so clear and unnecessary that even casual fans could understand what had just transpired. You can see the astonishment on her face when Clark hits the floor hard and realizes that she was only the target of a cheap shot by another Connecticut Sun player.
And then Marina Mabrey comes out of nowhere and chucks her to the floor. Now let's watch this in slow motion. Here, Jacy Sheldon is guarding Caitlin, swipes her in the face. There's one. Going for the ball, swipes her in the eyeball. Caitlin's gonna have to start wearing goggles. And then Caitlin pushes her off of her, like, why are you still in my face? Marina Mabrey, bat out of hell, chucks Caitlin Clark to the ground.
The whole Fever bench erupts as they witness their star player being assaulted directly in front of the referees. Players are pointing at Mabrey and yelling at the officials to get someone in stripes to actually perform their duties. The crowd is going wild as they watch this happen on their home court, and Coach Stephanie White is going completely crazy on the sidelines, yelling at the officials who are still oblivious to what is happening in front of them. She is making wildly pointing gestures at Mabrey in an attempt to make the referees realize that this has gone far beyond typical basketball contact. White is aware that her player was just singled out once more and that the officials are going to make another mistake.
Now after this, you guys, of course, the referees are going to review the play because that's a lot of contact going on right there. That's a lot of unnecessary contact. That's a lot of non-basketball contact happening during this play, right? So the three referees that I like to say, they got them straight out of Sephora because I don't think these referees have ever refereed a professional basketball game in their life. They took these referees, they were at the monitor, they looked at it for, I'm not even exaggerating, you guys, like 15 minutes. 15 minutes they are watching this play over and over.
The referees give Mabrey a simple technical foul, which is the same punishment they gave Clark for protecting herself after having her eye poked. Take a moment to consider that Clark pushes the player away after having her eye poked and Mab body checks Clark to the ground in retaliation. The math doesn't add up, and everyone in the building is aware of it.
The announcers here are saying, of course, Marina Mabrey is going to get ejected because that was unwarranted. She literally came out of nowhere and chucked Caitlin Clark. There should be a flagrant one, of course, on Jacy Sheldon because she swiped her and hit her in the eyeball. Whether it is intentional or not, you can still have a flagrant a flagrant foul called on you, whether you are trying to intentionally hurt somebody or not. But this is what they called, you guys. This is what they called. Caitlin Clark, Marina Mabrey, Tina Charles were assessed with technical fouls on Tuesday. Caitlin, Marina, and Tina Charles. Technical fouls. That's it. Technical fouls. That's it. And Jacy Sheldon was assessed with a flagrant 1 foul, and no players were ejected.
White lashes out during the post-game press conference when the officials failed to take control of the game and permit that to occur. This has been going on all season, and she has had enough of seeing her players singled out while the officials do nothing.
When the officials don't get control of the ball game, when they allow that stuff to happen, and it's been happening all season long. All season long. It's not just this game, it's been happening all season long. This is what happens, right? This is what happens. You've got competitive women who are the best in the world at what they do, right? And when you allow them to play physical and you allow these things to happen, they're going to compete and they're going to have their teammates' backs. It's exactly what you expect, right? Out of fierce competition. So I started talking to the officials in the first quarter, and we knew this was going to happen. You could tell it was going to happen. So they got to get control of it. They got to be better.
The message was very obvious. At this point, the officials weren't going to protect Clark, so her teammates would have to do it themselves. Sophie Cunningham was watching from the bench as everything happened, and she was about to make sure that everyone understood that nobody should mess with her teammate. In the last minute of the game, Fever is ahead 87-70, and Sophie Cunningham sees Jacy Sheldon with the ball one last time. The clock is running out, but her thoughts aren't on the score anymore. Instead, they are thinking about May 30th, when she was hurt, watching Clark get her eye poked with no real repercussions and Marina Mabrey body checking her teammate to the ground.